Hi everyone, welcome, good evening. We are very excited and glad you could join us tonight for our Lehigh Wildfire Community Meeting. We're grateful to the LDS Church for sponsoring or allowing us to meet in their facility. This picture that you see is of the exact chapel that we're meeting in tonight. And you can see the large wildfire beyond. We're grateful to the Lehigh Fire Department who has joined us, and I'll do some introductions and preview the agenda, and we'll get right started. My name is Steve Boyack. I'm the president of a nonprofit called Utah Preparedness Network. Our mission is to educate and train and provide response opportunities for residents of Utah. And this is the first of our efforts to do that. We have a website, utahpreparednessnetwork.com. We also have a Facebook group that you're welcome to join, and this video will be uploaded afterward. If you have questions questions, we'll take them at the end of the presentation and provide answers. And also, we'll have some discussion of this presentation online in our Facebook group, and we hope you'll join us there. People ask, is Lehigh at risk? And obviously we've had wildfires in the past, and we probably will have them in the future. One of the things that I've heard people say is, well, I don't live right at the interface of the wildland area, so I'm probably not at risk. But 90% of homes that are burned in wildfires are due to embers that are pushed by the wind, and that can be blocks or even miles from the actual fire. So the wind conditions are what really push the fire and cause it to grow and endanger our homes. My wife Marilee and I previously lived in Southern California, and we went through a couple of horrific wildfires where 1 million people in San Diego County were evacuated. Over 1,000 homes burned in both of those fires. So we know the danger that these wildfires can endanger communities. So we're grateful for the Lehigh Fire Department coming and joining us to share some of their expertise and information about how we can be better prepared. Let me preview our agenda. As I mentioned, my name's Steve Boyack, and we'll first hear from Jeff McGrath. Jeff will talk about his experience in the wildfire and about some of the things he learned, the lessons that we can apply, and how we can be better prepared, through knowledge and experience that Jeff will share. Our fire department has joined us, Blair Ballone, who is an advanced EMT, and Trent Hutchings, who has wildfire experience and who is an engineer with Lehigh Fire Department, will share some of those tips and ideas. Then Marilee Boyack will talk to us about when it's time to go and how we can prepare our families and the things that we should do, what we can do to prepare in advance. Mass evacuation management will be in a separate video that you can find on our Utah Preparedness Network Facebook group. This software is available for free and allows leaders to be able to track, manage, and provide for their members in times of an emergency evacuation. So check it out. So I'll turn the time over to
So
Jeff
what I'm going to do tonight is I'm actually going to tell you guys a story. So about my experience up here, being a resident, right? Several of the people that are up here, their kids work for me. I've helped coach high school or even the middle school and even younger football teams. They grew up with my kids. Your kids grew up with my kids. My wife works with elementary school. Been a part of the community for a long time. I've also been a part of the CERT. I was part of the CERT team here in Lehigh, the Community Emergency Response Team. Volunteered with the Lehigh City Rehabilitation Team, which is basically like the Gophers for the fire department. So when they get thirsty, I go get them drinks, stuff like that. But have been very active in the community and was ready, I thought, for a fire and for an emergency. And then one night, it was June 27th. It was about 11 o'clock at night. I can't remember who it was whether either my wife or a kid or someone said, hey, it's glowing orange outside, and I was like, well, let's go just kind of check it out, because we couldn't really see from our house. And I live about 8 streets down from where the mountain was. And so we had like an errand. We had to run up there, drop something off, or pick something up. We ended up not even doing it, because we got up to the top, and we were there, and the flames were 60 feet high, and there's a gentleman outside in his backyard trying to fight it with a hose, with a garden hose. And we're sitting there, and I'm talking to this gentleman's, I want to say, son-in-law. And I'm like, you're just going to have to drag him out. We've got to go. And somehow, during that discourse, I ended up with the keys to his truck, and I'm like, I'll just meet you at a church parking lot somewhere. I don't know where. I'll just take it. We ended up meeting up with him later. But as I was driving down, the smoke was so thick that I remember navigating by looking at the curb and remembering what the street looked like, because you couldn't see more than 5 to 7 feet. The thing that was really dangerous with this fire is it was actually coming down the hill. The wind was blowing 20 to 30 miles per hour, and it was pushing everything towards the homes. And so at that point in time, I can't breathe. I'm choking. I'm coughing. I had an N95 mask still in my car because of the COVID days, and I'm wearing that, and I'm still choking and coughing, right? At that point in time, I'm going, okay, well, I felt like my house wasn't necessarily at risk because I was like 8 streets away. I'm going, the smoke, it was enough that I'm going, okay, that's where I need to evacuate. I need to get my kids and all those guys out. So these are out of the slides that I'm showing. These are the 2 only slides I didn't take photos of. That other previous slide was mine. You can see Canyon Hills all right here. My house is about right here. You can see it backed right up along here. So somewhere along here is the gentleman's truck that I randomly drove in the middle of the night. And when I got back to my house, one of the first things I did was I'm going, okay, it's pumping all the smoke right into my house. We were coughing and choking inside of our house because the AC was running. And you have that cold air return, right? The big, huge pipe that you see that goes right in. It was just pumping it all right in. So I went over and shut off my AC and just completely just shut it off. At that point in time, I was like, okay, let's get the kids out. I already knew what to grab ahead of time. I'm going, I can buy new clothes. I don't really care. Give me an excuse. She'd actually be really happy. She gets to go shopping again. My medication, right, all of that, it wasn't anything that was special. I could buy most of it over the counter. But I did know that I wanted to grab like my laptop, my computer, and I have a thing called a Synology. It's a server with a bunch of hard drives that I have all of my personal family photos and all of that stuff on. So I grabbed those and was able to pack it up. And at that point in time, the other thing that I did, as we had talked about this, and I hadn't done it for a while, I actually took my camera on my phone and I walked through every single room in my house, and I recorded and described what I was seeing. It took me, 5-10 minutes maybe at most to do this. So that way, say my house burnt to the ground, I'd be able to at least show all of the furniture, all the items, everything that was inside that house that showed worth to give to insurance. Shut off the air as I told you. One thing we have always been taught and trained to tell you, don't shut off your gas. If you end up coming back, you're supposed to have the gas power come and turn that back on. You're not allowed to turn it back on. It's not worth shutting off the power. If they're going to shut off the power, these guys are going to tell someone to do it, right? So I just shut off my AC and that was it. The next thing I did, at this point in time, it's midnight, and I'm running up and down the street, knocking on all my neighbors' doors, making them mad. They had no idea, and telling them to do basically kind of the same thing. At that point in time, it was time to basically get out. At that point in time, we also were going, where do we go, right? We weren't really certain. At one point in time, my wife was texting with a whole bunch of other people, and they're going, we need to, we're going to go over to this chapel or to this ward. And I get to this stake center and the power's out. There's no AC going. There's 50 families huddled down, right? The actual official evacuation center where the Red Cross was starting to set up was actually over at Skyridge High School. One thing that has come about since then that can help facilitate or can make this, that fixes this problem, is this new alert, utahcounty.gov. So if you can, everybody take out your phones. You definitely want to take a photo of this. You can subscribe to this and it will send you text messages. So when we just had the TI or the Temple Fire, or whatever we want to call it, just the other day, I was at work. I got the evacuation notice for my neighborhood. Again, oh shoot, here we go. Ran home from work, and then they showed that they had lifted the evacuation center. This Everbridge system, you can subscribe to those different things for the various parts of Utah County. And this is what we didn't have during the last fire, which is phenomenal. And I took this one from SR92. So this is looking back at Traverse Mountain. And all of over here, these are all those new homes way up into the hillsides now. So you can, and a lot of this vegetation has actually grown back. All right, afterwards, right, we ended up going up to my mother-in-law's and spending the night up there. Finally got to sleep around 3 or 4 in the morning. Next morning we came back down. It was actually really nice to see the community get involved. But there was a big rainstorm that was supposed to be coming in, and everybody was worried about flooding. And it was really great to see a lot of these guys come. We had no foliage, and we were worried about water coming down the hill. So we had a bunch of community guys get together. The community, they started making sandbags. For a quick tangent really fast, does anybody recognize what's actually wrong in this photo? You're not allowed to answer, and Mac, you're not allowed to answer either. Exactly, they're too full. You don't want to fill a sandbag more than 2/3 max. Those little drawstrings are really there to just keep it closed while you're transporting. What you're going to do is you lay that sandbag down, you've got that flat part, and then you put the next sandbag on it and it ties it in. You use something like this, those are going to break open. Guess what you've now done? You've now filled the sewer systems full of mud, and now when the water runs down the hill, where's it going to go? Into your homes, right? So those are kind of some of the things that we want to try to do. I want you guys to be prepared so I don't have to come tell you guys what to do, and you guys can all run and do it and lead the charge, right? But anyways, yeah, so that's, I'll just go ahead and wrap it up of taking more time. But that's kind of more or less, I don't think it's a matter of if it's going to happen again. I think it's just a matter of when and how large and how frequent it's going to be. We're up against the mountain. We also have Dry Creek that cuts right through the heart of Lehigh as well. And so this is just an inherent risk. It's super dry every single year. So, but I'll turn the time over to you guys now. So.
A couple of things we kind of mentioned. If terminology or if I say something that doesn't make any sense to you, by all means, please stop me and ask me what that means, because I forget sometimes we don't understand language. Sorry, I'm so, okay.
He's also short.
Yeah.
So.
So do you want to introduce yourself? I'll just have Trent talk for me. That's what I'll do.
All right, my name's Trent Hutchings. I've been with Lehigh for about 9 years. I'm an engineer, so what that means is I drive the big, huge ladder truck. I operate it, get the guys water at the end of the hose lines. But I've also done wildland for the past 8 seasons as well. So I've been deployed all over the western United States, fighting fire, and sorry, what? Okay, gotcha. So yeah, been all over across the western United States. Most recently in Nebraska in March for about a 600,000 acre wildfire. So I've seen a couple things, done a couple things. I kind of know what I'm talking about. So again, if you have any questions, please let us know. We'll try and explain as best as we can. We like to use a lot of firefighter lingo that most people, most civilians are not really privy to. So if you need us to explain anything, by all means, let us know. I also happen to be the incident commander on the flash fire 2 weeks ago. So if you have questions about that, I have answers as well. But, all right, Blair? Yeah.
Okay, so for our slideshow, the purpose of this wildland prevention plan is to reduce the risk of human-caused fires. If you guys have noticed, it's extremely hot outside. Winds are picking up. Yes, we're receiving moisture, but at the same time, we're receiving dry lightning, and then the winds are just getting worse and worse. So the fires that have started are just getting bigger and bigger because of those conditions. So a lot of times we just want to make sure that we're preventing it as best we can. You guys are helping us out a ton by a couple of the key points that we'll kind of go over right now. Some of the common local wildland risks we have are dry vegetations and tall grass, okay? Extended drought conditions, high winds, equipment being used during the fire weathers like red flag days, vehicle-related ignitions, improper disposal of smoky materials, and outdoor burning and recreational activity. So unfortunately, 4th of July came by and everyone wants to light off fireworks. Because of the conditions that we are in, it is not allowed. And we just think about, you know, a small little fountain firework. It's not going to cause that much damage. It takes one tiny spark. With the winds right now, those sparks will travel. During my wildland experience, those sparks have traveled or the embers will traveled for miles and started a couple miles away from the bigger fire. So we just want to keep that traffic controlled and in a safe environment.
So we're always students of the craft. We're always studying things, and there's a lot more to weather than people realize about fighting wildfires. And one of the things that we talk about, it's a number that we hear every single morning in our morning briefings, is called the PIG, so the probability of ignition. And what that means is if for every 100 sparks, what percentage of those sparks will actually start a wildfire? Right now, this morning, we have a probability of ignition of 98%. So because of the red flag warning conditions and all of the things that have been going on, fire danger is extremely dangerous. Unfortunately, our chief did have to make the decision to suspend fireworks, but that was because he wanted to protect you guys and as well as us. Wildland firefighting is extremely dangerous. I would say even more dangerous than fighting a structure fire. Structure fire, you can kind of guess how long it's been burning. You can kind of guess what's going to happen next. Wildland, one shift in the winds and you're done. And unfortunately, that's exactly what caused three fatalities about a week ago on the Colorado-Utah border. To help you guys and to help you guys be safe, there is what we call the defensible space. So, and this is specifically for structures, for homes, for things that you want to keep still standing. We have a zone 0, zone 1, zone 2. So zone 0, 0 to 5 feet. And when we're talking about this stuff, we want to remove combustible materials within that zone 0. So no storing firewood next to your house or underneath your deck. If we enter red flag conditions, take the cushions off of your chairs that are on the deck, kind of stuff like that. That zone 1, that 5 to 30 feet, we want to make sure that there's no vegetation touching our house. There's cleared areas, and then also this will go into zone 2 as well, but ladder fuels. What a ladder fuel is overgrown vegetation that starts at the ground level that goes up into the canopy of the tree, and that helps fire grow up into the canopy of the tree. And once it's up there, there's nothing that we can do to stop it. So you'll hear a lot of firefighters talk about like fires making a run. That's what they're talking about. It's up there, and even helicopters, aircraft have a hard time stopping that progression. That zone 2, 30 to 100 feet, just keep that area clear from your house. Excuse me. All right. Yeah, you want to take this one?
For sure. So these are just kind of examples of those different types of zones. For zone 0, we're looking at removing combustible materials. So if you guys have any gas cans, any of those types of fuels stored in garages, stored in your garage in general, like in your, shed. That's the word. My goodness, you guys. Yeah, if they're stored in sheds, those are some things that we're gonna want to make sure that we're getting away from our homes, right? Keep your roofs and gutters clear. I know that tends to be one of the last tasks, one of the last chores of the day. A lot of people tend to forget about them. They get all cluttered, and like I said, those embers will just travel right into the pocket of those gutters and light the top of your roof on fire, and then you've got trees and such nearby that'll catch. Eliminating those dry vegetation, like Trent said, and then moving the firewood away from the structure. The second point is your zone 1. If you can create those barriers on the fire line, we dig line about 3 feet in width from unburned fuels to the burned fuel, and that's about enough to stop a fire for the most part. That's kind of what we kind of recommend, is just taking away all of that vegetation from your homes. Increasing space between trees and shrubs, remove dead and down fuels, and then create breaks where it's appropriate. So again, just creating that barrier between them makes a huge difference, about 3 feet. Yeah.
Good question. Again, that's the fire lingo right
Yeah.
there. So down fuel, everything that we see in the fire world is fuel. Everything burns, right? That's like a down log. that's just sitting on the ground. Those tend to have a lot less moisture in them than live fuels do. They can go up a lot quicker, cause a lot more problems. But so if you have any like branches or anything that's just kind of dead that's just sitting there, it's best to remove those and get those out of the way. Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, for sure. Again, it's like everyone knows what that means. And then we've got our zone 2. Our zone 2, I know a lot of people, especially in the older parts of Lehigh, have these really big trees. It's always best to just go clean those up, take the branches, dead branches, and start cutting those up. Yeah. Does everyone understand like what a red flag warning day is, or what that means by chance?
Okay, perfect. So you can go onto any weather app and it'll say red flag warning. And what that means is that the conditions for that day are well beyond what fire likes. It's very favorable to the fire. What that includes is low RHs, so relative humidity, low relative humidity, high temperatures, and high winds. You get those three ingredients together and get that one spark, that 98% probability of ignition, and those three ingredients come together and create a disaster. So that's what, when you hear the word red flag warning, those three conditions are in place. Let's see. Oh. Yeah, as far as you'll see this map here on the left as for firework restrictions. Currently, we don't know what it's going to entail for the 24th of July, unfortunately. We very well could still be in that restriction time frame. But typically, during a normal year, these are the areas that are off limits to fire completely. That Dry Creek corridor down towards that middle of the section of the city, it's actually a very scary area, especially for us, because we're going to be putting ourselves into some pretty precarious situations trying to save property and lives. So there's a reason why they're restricted.
Yeah, so just to kind of finish that up, Lehigh City does a really good job at giving you guys as much information as quickly as possible. So a lot of times you'll see the fire restrictions pop up on Lehigh City's social media. That's kind of the only way, in my opinion, the quickest way to stay updated with the information that even us.
Yeah. Okay, so here's some really good suggestions that we like to tell people when they ask us these questions. So no multiple evacuation routes. Back 10 years ago, or maybe not 10 years ago even, but there was only one road up to this area. Not super great. Now you have multiple exit points to get out of the neighborhood. Designate a meeting location, maintain emergency contact lists, and plan for pet and livestock. I don't know if too many people up here have horses or cows, but you never know. And then prepare go bags, something that you could have for like 72 hours worth of supplies and to get up and go.
Yeah, that's the majority of what we have for to questions afterwards. Yeah.
I know some people say yes, some say no. If there's a fire and it's
Here's the thing. Yes, that actually helps out quite a bit. The only issue is, especially here in Lehigh, we run our hydrants off of secondary water, which is not our favorite thing because we get clams and stuff inside of our fire engines, and that's more like south end of town, but not great. So that can, if a lot of people are using their fire extinguishers, their sprinklers, that can decrease pressure in the fire hydrant system, which it's not favorable either, but that can get some moisture on your yard that will help it not be so susceptible to catching fire. That's hard to say. I don't have an answer for you. That definitely could help, but if we're in these red flag conditions, we have what's called long range spotting, and we see it all red flag conditions where we have an ember that flies 10 miles and starts a whole, embers can shoot quite a ways. So. So typically we run through a lot of our repeat the question. He asked about the social media outlets and how we disseminate information. Best ones to follow are probably Lehigh City and Lehigh Fire Department and Lehigh Police Department. A lot of the times we'll get something out pretty quickly through our PIO, our Public Information Officer. Yeah, words are hard, and I've been up for a long time already. So, what about pets, dogs and cats? Take them. Yeah.
Kind of the same thing. Like I've had a couple of people who will put together little backpacks for their animals and such. Yep. Yeah. Their own separate bags so that it doesn't, come out of your 72-hour kit.
We'll have more Q&A
a separate bag.
Okay. I was just notified we'll have more Q&A at the end. So. All right.
Thank you. Of course, if you're my age, sometimes you want to ask those questions quick so you don't forget them. So I get that. So write down anything you're thinking of in your brain. Hi, I'm Marilee Boyack. I'm with the Utah Preparedness Network. And can we just start by saying, I'm so proud of all of you, because so many people just ignore this issue and they sit at home in fear and they don't get prepared. So thank you for being proactive in protecting your families. We would ask one other thing. Please tell your neighbors. Please share with them what you've learned. Get on your own little neighborhood social media chats and say, by the way, we learned this, okay? And please spread this information that we're going to share with you. Lehigh City Chat is a good social media one for the city. I'm going to steal your thunder, Steve. Steve runs the Lehigh Link, which is a Facebook group with 20,000 people from the city of Lehigh. And in the last fire that we had in Traverse Mountain, it was the first place where the fire was reported, okay? And pictures and everything. So be sure and sign up for that as well. All righty. We come to this from experience. We lived in Southern California in the San Diego area. We lived through 2 massive wildfires. As Steve mentioned, the second one, 1 million people were evacuated. In our LDS stake boundaries, 24 homes were burned to the ground. And so when you see these things, these fires move, as you can attest, fast. We had 80-mile-per-hour winds, and they were moving fast. And you think, well, I'm in the middle of the neighborhood. In fact, it was funny. I was listening to Jeff say, I'm 8 streets away. I'm like, that fast. Okay? I have seen whole neighborhoods taken out. So I'm really proud of you for being here today. As Steve mentioned, I ended up through a very strange series of events, running the evacuation center both times in our city, and then did the fire relief for the families that got totally burned out. So this has become kind of a weird specialty for us. Alrighty. Please remember, you are your first responder. Have you guys watched the news after there's a big earthquake or there's a big tornado or hurricane? How fast is the government, no offense, how fast is the government coming in to respond, right? FEMA, I mean, hello, it takes them forever to get there. So you are your own first responder. They're going to be overwhelmed in these kinds of situations. And so please just get that in your brains, man, you're it. All right. When we're talking about evacuation planning, we're going to start with our brain first. So many people are like, give me a list. I want to buy a kit. I'm good. No. We're going to develop an entire plan for evacuation, and you got to start thinking things through first. I always say the best question you can ask is, what if? What if this happens? What will I do? So when we're beginning with our evacuation plan, we're going to ask that important question, where? All right? Where? Where are you going to evacuate? Now, you see that lovely gridlock? Okay? We watched 1 million people try to evacuate from our county in San Diego, and guess what? Gridlock. They could not move. So keep that in mind. Bridges are going to be another issue. We have Point of the Mountain. That may be an issue for us, right? Your house, may be burning. So ask yourself that question, where will you go? Now, I'm going to talk about layers of preparation. So the first thing is, where will you go? Start locally. Where will you go immediately? Jeff mentioned that he went to his mother-in-law, right? I think. When we had our second wildfire, my sister lived 5 miles away. They were given 10 minutes to evacuate. She came to my house, all righty? So you want to find somewhere close where you will go. Figure that out. Is it family? You might want to let them know they're coming. Is it friends? Is it a shelter that's going to be run by the city, typically at the high schools? Or is it going to be at a hotel? I remember when the second fire hit in San Diego, you know what the first thing I did was? I got a hotel reservation that fast. We were on vacation once in Sholo, Arizona during a wildfire. I know it's kind of weird. But I immediately called and got a hotel because I could see people fleeing with their cars. We were there for the petrified forest. So you want to get these things figured out ahead of time. Second, then you're going to do further out. If you have to leave the county or leave the, Lehigh, where are you going to go next? And then think out of state, okay? This is a massive situation. Could be wildfire, could be earthquake, right? That's going to be a big one. If you have to leave, where do you go? Are you going to go north around Point of the Mountain? Probably not, right? Maybe. Are you going to need to go south? Figure those things out. Then you're going to put together your evacuation meeting place plan, all right? And I want you to actually write this down. It does no good if you haven't written it down. Don't worry, all of these addresses have been changed so that you cannot descend on my family if you would like to. So, first one, where are we going to go? We're going to go to my son Connor, who lives on the west side of Lehigh. He's very prepared as well. We're going to go there. Uh-oh, now we got to leave Lehigh. Where are we going to go next? We're going to go down to Springville to my other son's house. Uh-oh, you got to leave that. Where are you going to go? Maybe I'm going to go north now to my sister's house in Salt Lake. Maybe I've got to leave the state. I've got 2 sisters, and I might have to leave the state, right? And go either north or south. Write it down. Put in directions right in there, okay? See this? This is worthless in 10 minutes. Do not count on this. I can't tell you how many people go, oh, I have it all on my phone. Worthless in 10 minutes, okay? Overwhelmed cell towers. So don't count on that. Write it down. Now, on ours, we're weird. We like to, other people are running away from this stuff, we run to it. So we also have on the bottom, if we're helping, where we will be. We'll first start at the Center Street LDS Church in our area. That's just a block away. Then if we're not helping there, we're going to go to Sky Ridge High School. Then we're going to go to the fire station number 3. Then we're going to go, and so we have this list of where we could be. All right. Where will you go? You're going to post this in your house. You're going to print out a dozen copies. I want this inside of cupboard doors, inside of closet doors, on all levels of whatever floors in your house, all over the place, all right? You're going to put that inside. Why? When this stuff happens, your brain goes dead, blank. And you're going to be standing there going, oh yeah, where were we going to go? Oh, okay, write it down and post it. Then you're going to share it with your family. Can you imagine if you guys needed to evacuate and your family had no idea where you were? And remember, overwhelmed cell towers? How does your family know where you are? So you want to give them this list now so that they know and they're preparing to receive you when you show up on their front door. All right, behind the big picture, what's this? If I need to walk out of my house, if we have to leave, we're going to post a note behind our big picture, big family picture over the fireplace, telling where we went. Or you may have a big mirror or something. Everybody's got one of these. Pick a spot. Why? I don't want to put on my front door, hey kids, we're over here. The house is empty. Come on in, anybody that wants to, and loot my house while I'm gone. So that's why we have that lovely location to say, if they're trying to find us, they can go in and see immediately where we are. Paper maps. Boy, I can't tell you how many people go, oh, I'm just going to follow the map on my GPS and I'm good to go. Remember? No good. So you're going to get paper maps. Now, we belong to AAA. They think I'm super weird. I called them up. I go, I want a map to every state. What? Yes, and Canada, by the way, while you're at it, and I want all the major cities, okay? So you want paper maps. The atlas is pretty good. It's a little cumbersome to manage, so I like both the regular paper maps and the atlas. You're going to put those in Ziploc bags. You're going to put them in every vehicle that you have, okay? You're not going to put the entire 50 states in there, but you kind of want this region, and you want them all in your cars, okay? Right now, make sure you have all the maps so you know where you're going to go. Number 2, big question. What will you grab? Okay? What will you grab when you have to go? I want to share with you the parable of the big screen TV and the barbecue. One of our friends was evacuating. And they said you have, I don't know what he had, 10 to 15 minutes. He's loading up the big screen TV. He's loading up his expensive barbecue. His wife says to him, should we take the pictures and the family mementos? He goes, nah, we'll be back. Burned to the ground. But whoopee scoopy, he had his barbecue that the insurance would have replaced, right? Don't be stupid. I had a client that came running out of her house, turned around, looked, saw the fire approaching, ran back in, got the dress for her son's wedding, and her estate plan that I had prepared for her, which I could have replaced for her, and ran back out of the house, and that's all she took. Your brain goes blank, absolutely blank. So we're going to plan and write it down. First of all, list what you will take. Just sit down. You know, lovely little family meeting, sit down. What are we going to take? Put them in order. There's the important part, okay? Put them in order, and then describe the location. We're going to take the stash of cash. It's not helpful if your husband doesn't know where you keep the stash of cash, okay? I have clients that keep money in freezers. I'm like, get them out of the freezer. But you want to let them know where things are. Now, here's an example. You can see some things are in bold. For example, computers, hard drives, they're in bold. Your driver's license, your phone chargers, family pictures, those important papers, that's called a red file. All those things are going to be super important. Now, I have it on this list. This list is a little bit different. The one we have is just one list, okay? But I wanted you to kind of see some categories, all right? We have one list in order so that if you have 5 minutes, you know you've gotten your top 5 items, right? If you have 20 minutes, you probably get the whole list. Put it in order, okay? All right. I can't even begin to tell you how important this is. This, if you've remembered nothing else, make your list. All right, next one. Put it inside. I put mine on neon paper. Where is it? It's inside closet doors. It's inside cupboards. It's on all levels of the house. It is everywhere. So that when we had the second fire, I said to Steve, I'm out of here. I got to go run the evacuation center again and start packing. And so he just, boop, pulled off the list, pulled out the stuff, started packing it all up, okay? So that in minutes, he had everything. My sister was given 10 minutes at 2 a.m. to evacuate, okay? You do not have much time often. Where are you going to put it all? I learned that after the first fire because I had a beautiful list, but I didn't have places to put all the stuff. So we got those rolling duffel bags from Walmart, okay? We have rolling suitcases that we used. We have bins, boxes, we got it all. Now, you do not want this stuff to be sitting around full. Oh, we got 5 minutes. Excuse me, I got to unpack my duffel bag. No, no, no. These are empty, right? And they are ready and waiting for you. Got it? Okay. So we want places to put it all. Now, what types of evacuation are you going to have? The first one is a short term. Now, in the old days, like yesterday, they used to say 72 hours. Now FEMA is saying 5 days. Why? Have you seen how fast they respond? Okay. So you want 5 days, guys. You don't want 3 days. It's not enough time. All righty? You want 5 days. Long term is going to be a little more extended, maybe like a 2 weeks. And then there's never coming back. Ask Spencer Pratt from LA. Sorry, you're not going back, right? Ever. It's gone. So there are different types of evacuations that you want to be prepared for. This is Prepare My Life. I can't remember. Really good website. PrepareMyLife.com. Thank you. Bless you, girl. It's a good one. It's a good handout if you want to go look at it. Okay. Oh, by the way, we're coming to that right now. Good. 72 hour or 5 days. I do 5. Food, ready to eat. Hear me, everyone. Turn up those hearing aids. Not freeze-dried food. Okay? Not freeze-dried food. Why? You use too much water to reconstitute your freeze-dried food. Okay? By the way, while we're on that topic, water preparedness, going to be a big thing. I remember our former mayor saying they think it'll be days, but it'll be years before we get water back. Those of you that have freeze-dried, you better have way more water than the average bear. Okay, I digress. Water, 8 ounces per person per day. That's emergency rations, right? This is keep you alive. You're going to have light, flashlight, batteries separately, headlamp, etc. Shelter, you're going to have an emergency blanket, maybe a tent, whatever floats your boat. Sanitation, everybody forgets this one. You're going to want a roll of toilet paper. I'm just putting that out there, okay? You're going to want sanitation stuff. Personal needs, especially medication, a big one. And I literally call my doctor once a year and say, I want a script for antibiotics. And she says, are you sick? I said, no, but I want fresh antibiotics. And she's like, oh, that's a good idea. I'll do one for me too. And I call her every year. You might want to say, hey, I'm on blood pressure meds, double my dose for a while so I can stockpile a little bit. And I'm just open, flat out open with my doctors so they know what I'm doing. And they're like, oh, that's actually a really good idea. Make sure you have your medication. First aid, obviously. Communication, this is going to be your ham radio. In an emergency, it's my understanding you can use a ham radio without a license. I'd sure have one. They're less than $30 nowadays, so I'd get one. And then fire, the ability to start fire. All right, now, all of you were like, give me a list. Give me a list. Okay, there's lists everywhere, guys. You can go to beready.gov. You can go to FEMA. You can go to the American Red Cross. They all have lists. There's lists all over the internet. So go pick your own. All right? I didn't need to print one out for you. There's plenty. So pick your own and then personalize it. All right. The question is, can you walk away with it? See the lady with the buckets? I had so many people go, oh yeah, I've got it in my 5-gallon bucket. Have you tried to carry a 5-gallon bucket for a mile? It'll kill you. Okay? Buckets, not a good idea. Rolling suitcases for your basic 5-day kit, not a good idea. And then overloaded children, not a good idea. So ask yourself, can you walk away with it? And again, we're going to do layers. Begin with a backpack, all right? Now look at these backpacks, well, if you can. They've got chest straps. They've got nice belts. This is not the time to get a cheap backpack, all right? This is not it. You can go cheap on other stuff. This is not it. Get a good, decent, going to hold the load backpack. You're going to add portable wagons. Often Costco has these during the summer. Now, this one I don't like. What's the flaw on this one? Lousy wheels. Man, I want turbo wheels. I want rugged wheels, okay? So I would get a better one than this picture with good wheels. So add a portable wagon or two. And then how are you going to carry those little kids? And grandparents, even we have the little kids that we're babysitting. We need to be able to carry the little kids. Do you need slings, backpacks, another rolling wagon to carry the kids, right? Because if you got to get out of there, you want something to carry your kids. All right, build your own kit. Do not buy pre-made kits. Don't do it. Avoid the temptation. They're expensive. They use really cheap items, and there's not enough in there, okay? So don't go there. Secondly, don't use red. A friend of mine taught me this one. She says red makes you a target. You're tooling along in your red backpack, and they can see you 3 miles away, and they go, woohoo, look! She's got a red backpack. And who do they go take their backpack? The one with the red. So I'm thinking khaki, I'm thinking black or gray, right? You do not want to call attention to yourself. No red, no red. Think categories: water, food, light, safety. Do bags within the backpack. So you're going to put your clothes in a Ziploc bag. You're going to put your first aid stuff in a Ziploc bag. You're going to put your food in a Ziploc bag. You're going to put your flashlight in a Ziploc bag with a separate little Ziploc for the batteries. Why? It's easier to get stuff. It's a second layer of protection. And the next point, keep your food bag and your battery bag on top. We learned this the hard way. Because you're going to rotate those every 6 months. And if I'm digging through my stupid bag going, I know the batteries are in here somewhere, that's dumb. So we learned, we're like, oh yeah, it makes sense, stick them on top. You're going to update those every 6 months. My son rotates his at General Conference. They get out all the old snacks and they eat them for conference. It's their conference snacks. I thought that was quite clever. And they rotate every 6 months. Update your entire bag annually. Why? Especially check those clothes. Steve lost 75 pounds. We checked our bag, all the clothes fell off, which was wonderful, but not good in an emergency. I, on the other hand, run to the opposite end of that spectrum. Thank you very much. All right, but I've had people go, yeah, ours had diapers and our kid's 7, right? So you want to check those bags every year. All righty. Update the entire bag, as I said. Personalize them. What do you need personally? Do you need medication? Ladies, do you need ladies' supplies? Okay? Trauma will bring that on, so be prepared. Baby supplies. Do you have baby? Could not believe it during COVID. Somebody was like, does somebody have baby Tylenol? And I'm thinking, you didn't even have one extra thing of baby Tylenol? I mean, guys, let's have that stuff stored away. And again, watch the weight. You don't want to have it be too heavy. Where are you going to keep it? The garage is not ideal. Garages catch fire relatively easily and they collapse relatively easily. Not the best place. Basement, not a great idea. Again, you're going running down. You're trying to get it, dragging it out of the basement. Not great. Front door or the front closet, great. See how quick that is? Grab and go. And can you grab it and go easily is your question. Where do you have your stuff? Can you grab it and go easily? Now, your car can save you. Your car is usually with you, isn't it? So your car, we're going to turn into a rolling evacuation vehicle. We keep our car like this all the time, all righty? This isn't just, woo, it's wildfire, we better do it now. No, ours live this way. What do we have in it? Water, lots of water, okay? My husband's always teasing me about how many water bottles I have rolling around in my car. Filter, you're going to want like a Life Straw or something of that nature in your car. Food, this is, again, high protein, high calorie, non-perishable food. You know those bars that they have you do for 3,000 calories? You'll have constipation in 24 hours. Don't rely on those, okay? You want food. Communications of some kind. Safety, I have mace in my car and I might have perhaps a few other items, all righty? You want your car to be safe, have safety items in there. First aid, I have in my car a big fanny pack. It's a fishing fanny pack. You can get it at Walmart. And it has a lot of lovely little pouches in there. And then I got the little Ziploc bags for all the little, medications. And we keep that in our car. This is how invaluable it was. When I ran the second wildfire evacuation in our area, they evacuated the hospital. We did not have doctors or nurses for 3 days. And I had the entire nursing home in my evacuation center. So we ran that out of my little first aid kit, well, big first aid kit. We ran it out of the back of my car first aid kit. That is critically important, okay? Car stuff, oil, cables. It blows my mind how many people don't have jumper cables. Okay, let's stock that up. Tools, shelter, you're going to want to get some of the emergency blankets. And then the emergency bivy sacks, they're only like that big. They're super awesome. Light, of course, those maps. What was I talking about? Maps, right? Firm believer. Get them in the Ziplocs. Get them in there. Shoes. Man, I am not walking 3 miles in heels. I'm not even walking a mile in heels, okay? We want to have good shoes. Winter. We have an entire duffel bag with winter. Gloves, hat, heavy coat, and a blanket and boots. And that lives in my car in the winter. And then I watch for the snow to melt. Then once the snow's gone, it just lives in my garage, okay? But you're going to want winter. And then finally, stash of cash. Here's my general rule. I want enough cash to buy a hotel room for one night for cash because the card readers are not working. I want to be able to buy a tank of gas for cash, and I want to be able to buy food for cash. Okay, so you want cash in your car and you want small bills, not all 20s. Okay, you want small bills and that. All right, evacuation tips in your car. Keep your car full, your car tank full. Okay, keep it full. Good tires, don't drive through flooded areas, don't be stupid. If a power line falls, don't get out of your car. I just saw that on TV. I'm like, oh, I know what to do, don't get out of your car. All righty? And then if it's hard to control your car, pull over. If you can't see and you're driving through smoke, pull over. All right. Next one, long term. You're going to beef up that short term kit that you have. What are you going to beef it up with? Think 2 weeks. Okay, think 2 weeks. We have a bin with prepared food, little pop cans of chili, right? Already cooked stuff, little things of cereal. So we have a whole bin with 2 weeks worth of food in it to grab and go. A duffel with, we have 2 sleeping bags, it's just the 2 of us now, and a tent. So we have a duffel with shelter needs. And then water, 5 gallons per person. Okay, so we have 5 gallon water things everywhere. Every closet, every room. So you're going to want that, all righty? What to do before you leave. Close the windows in your house. Close your garage door. Move your patio furniture inside. Turn off the sprinklers unless directed otherwise. Leave the exterior lights on. Move the vehicles facing out. Take the pets with you and leave early. And as he said, turn off the air conditioning. And then finally, what if? What if you need to walk away from where you work? Do you have an emergency backpack in your work? Or at least in your car if you can get to your car? What if you need to escape from your bedroom? We've lived through massive earthquakes, many. So underneath the head of our bed, we have good walking shoes, a flashlight, a whistle, and fanny packs with little emergency essentials that we can grab. And if we can't get out the front door, we can go out the back. And what if your kids need to leave their school? What do your kids have? Like I said, we raised our kids in San Diego. They had emergency packs. The schools required them in all the things with comfort items, with a list of contacts of who to call. okay? And food and water. So do your kids have that to leave? Bottom line, prepare now. And I want to tell you, when you're prepared, you're not so afraid, because there is a terror that comes over you when your family is threatened. But if you're prepared, you're going to say, I've got this. We're ready. We went to this fabulous presentation. We did it all, and we're just so prepared. So if you have questions, please see me afterward, and we'll have question and answer. And Steve, we're going to put the slides on the UPN Facebook group. Yeah, on the UPN, Utah Preparedness Network Facebook group, we'll put these slides on there as well. Thank you. Go, Steve.
Yeah, I want to thank our presenters. They've done a great job, and we have some time. We're going to do some question and answer. So if you have questions for our firefighters or for Marilee, we'll take questions from the audience. So let us know. Yeah. That's a great idea. If you didn't hear her, she said if you have to spend the night away and you're in a shelter, bright lights, noise, people coming and going, have some earplugs and an eye mask, and you'll hopefully get some rest while you're there. It's a great idea.
They're in mine because Steve used to snore, but he doesn't anymore. Now I do. He needs them for me. All right, other questions? Yes. Okay, to find this slideshow, go to Facebook and join, or you look at the Utah Preparedness Network Facebook group there, and we'll post them up there for you. Yes? How do you get help? How do kids help? Shall I tell you the story of 12-year-old Sarah? That in the first fire, 12-year-old Sarah walks up to me. I'm running the evacuation center, mainly because I went over to the Red Cross guy and said, how can I help? He said, you look like a go-to person. I'm putting you in charge of the whole thing, and walked out the door. So, yeah, no lie. So Sarah, 12 years old, walks up to me, and she's got a vest on, and she says, I want to help, and I'm CERT trained. I said, you got it. You're in charge of the volunteer desk. She ran the volunteer desk for 4 days, my man. I sent all the volunteers to Sarah, okay? Kids can help like you would not believe. The main thing you can help with right now, nag the spit out of your parents until they get all this done. My man, it's on you. Other questions? Yes.
I had two questions, and one of them was if we could talk briefly about evacuation routes.
Evacuation routes, okay.
Yeah, other than the, fire, here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you could weigh in on tips about what a good evacuation route would be.
Okay, good evacuation routes. On that, we use a couple of criteria. One, you want multiple. So when I'm looking at my neighborhood, where my house is, I have 3 exits. Figure that out right now. If I can't go this way, I can go this way, or I can go this way. The second thing you need to look at is geological barriers. Point of the mountain, rough, okay? You also, or if there's a bridge or if there's a heavily wooded area, you want to be careful about geological factors in your evacuation routes. The third thing you want to be careful about is the movement of people. So the thought of going up to Salt Lake County, right? Kind of low on my list. I don't know about you. So you want to think about where are people going to flee, okay? So think that through when you're picking out those evacuation routes as well. And like I said, write it down so that you might keep it in your car, your evacuation route, and say, if you can't go this way, so that it's already planned out, so that you're not sitting there just going, where do we go? I don't know. Where should we go? You see what I'm saying? Fireman, do you have anything to add to evacuation routes?
Yeah, so a lot of the times when we're running a fire, we're going to have a designated corridor that we're going to need access to. So we're going to take that main access point, and then PD will show you which way to go.
Yeah, so a lot of times they'll be out saying, don't go this way, everybody, detour. But you want to be familiar. So, because like he said, if they say, oh, detour, everybody go this way, boy, if you haven't driven those routes and figured that out, you're going to be like, where am I, right?
So you talked about your high school.
Skyridge High School.
Are there other areas other than Skyridge High School?
That is a fluid thing. Picking evacuation places is a fluid thing, okay? Like when we did our fire, our high school was it, and then within 15 minutes they had to shut it down because the fire was coming. It is fluid, but you will be notified on Everbridge about evacuation sites.
Yeah, let me add to that the exact place that you should go if you evacuate is determined by the city. So the city is going to define if it's going to be a church, a school. I think the church has a special agreement with the city if they need and if they require it, they have that worked out beforehand that they can do.
Sorry.
And so it will all be set up in advance. In the case of the fire that we had here, it was a problem because people were saying that a church was going to be the place to go to evacuate, but it wasn't. It was actually in the way of the fire department who needed the space to fight the fire. So look for that notification only from the city.
On Everbridge.
It should come out on Everbridge. If you're not signed up for Everbridge, you need to do that. You can find the link on the city website, or you can just Google. It is the official Utah County Emergency Notification System. And it's opt-in only. So you have to sign up in order to get the alert.
They're freaking about their phones. Agreed. Okay, your phones will typically work. In ours, in both wildfires, we had about 15 minutes of good reception, okay? So you're gonna look at multiple things. First of all, have it in your brain, Skyridge is highly likely, okay? Highly likely, so you can start there. As you begin to move, there will be people from the city that will be kind of showing you where to go and guiding you around, okay? Other questions? The 5-day?
5 days, sure, 5 days, there we go, 5 days, however many hours that is. So when we had the fire, whatever that was, 6 years ago, and we were looking, oh, we need to evacuate our 72-hour kits. They're loaded, they were right there by our door, we had them ready to go, and I looked at them and I said, I don't need anything in here. And I set them back down, and we were getting ready to get in the car, just drive to our mom's house. And I'm like, okay, maybe a cell phone charger, maybe some other things, but I'm trying to think of what are the scenarios that I need to be filtering water and I need a tent,
Let's talk about those things. Right. Okay. There's various reasons to evacuate. Wildfire, you're probably going to have enough notice, good 10 minutes. You're probably going to go to a family member, and you don't need a lot of those things. What do you need? If my house burns down, what do I need? That's what you need. Oh my gosh, I need my pictures, right? I need my sentimental stuff. I need my computers and my hard drives, and that's what you're going to take. So remember on that list, when you put it in order of preference, okay, 72-hour 5-day kit was one item. But all those other items, if you had 10 minutes, that's what you want, right? That's what you want. So you want multiple scenarios. There's also, man, there's a massive earthquake, dude, and you're out the door, and guess what? You can't get to mom, and, you're heading for the hills, and you're packing, and you're camping. There are multiples, so I want you prepared for all of them. Does that make sense?
You look at it, and I just can't imagine a scenario.
You haven't lived long enough in the places we've lived. We've lived through earthquakes. We've lived through wildfires, flooding. We've lived through a lot of those. Go look at the people in the hurricanes.
Don't forget the pandemic, right?
Yeah, yes, there are multiple scenarios, okay? And it's all going to be different. Yeah.
The Lehigh High School, or the Skyridge High School, was the evacuation center when this fire occurred, but it was during COVID. So the Red Cross said we're not allowed to run it as an evacuation center. So it was kind of a distribution center. We set people up with hotel rooms. We gave them water, directions. It was just kind of like, go there for help, and then we'll direct you elsewhere. Mm-hmm. So it could be a staged thing.
But you'd be surprised. If you're going to a shelter, dude, you're going to want your medications. Ladies, you're going to want your supplies. Trust me, there's a lot in there that you are going to need, that you are going to want. Okay, but yeah, there's going to be multiple reasons for evacuating. Other questions? Yes?
So do you have suggestions on what kind of food to store in the car? Just because the heat and
Okay, say it a little louder. Something about food.
Heat in the car.
Oh, food in the car. Okay, so for example, we have nuts stored in our car. We have granola bars stored in our car. Things like that. I've even got little fruit thingies stored in my car. You're right, you have to be aware of heat. And so my food stores are fairly buried. In the back of my car, I've got a bin. Inside that bin is my lovely backpack. Okay? And so my food is pretty buried. See that? And then I have all the other stuff in that bin as well. So I've got one bin and I've got everything in there. Okay? Yes, good thing. Be aware of the heat, which is very sad because chocolate is medicinal. Just put it out there. Yeah. All right, other questions? Other questions? I think we're pretty good.
And again, if you have any questions at the end, feel free to come up and talk to any of us. I'll remind you, there's some brochures from the city with preparedness information.
Tell them to take all of those.
Take some and give them to your neighbors, your children, friends. We don't want to take them home. We don't want them to go to waste, but take whatever you can use. There's also N95 masks. Take whatever you and your family can use. We have more. The meeting's concluded. Thank you. Good hand for our firefighters. Thank you, everybody. One other note about Everbridge. When you sign up, not only do you sign up what you want to find out about, but how. You can say, I want to get text notifications, phone calls, emails, all of the above. And so you can tailor that for the kind of notifications that you want to have. But get signed up. It's invaluable. And that's the first information that you'll get from the emergency managers.
And if you want to join us at Utah Preparedness Network, we're just a group of volunteers. We do a lot of education. Feel free to join us, and you don't have to volunteer to do anything, but it's a great place for you to get good information. And we're proud of you. Utah Preparedness Network, yeah. Thank you, guys.